page is really just to keep our community sane, like literally just have something to laugh about and go, okay, somebody else somewhere in the country is going through the same exact thing as me right
100%.
now.
You posted
you posted
one the other day, and it was Jim Carrey, and you're like, when you have to go back to the client because DU says you're a fur, and Jim Carrey was like, well, you're a piece of shit.
This is From the Ground Up, where we talk to entrepreneurs in all different industries and give you the down and dirty about what makes them successful. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and check back every Monday as we drop new episodes.
Okay, we're ready. Okay. Well, hello, everyone. We are here today with the infamous mortgage memes, Mr. Michael Sunnaa. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's pretty brave of us to do it on the last day of the month, too. So.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
So for all that don't know, Michael Sunnaa, he is the face and the brains behind mortgage memes. If you don't follow mortgage memes, I mean, we know we have a lot of lenders here today, but if you don't follow mortgage memes, you have to, because it is the funniest memes that you will ever see in your life.
You're missing out.
Yes.
I have multiple in my Instagram, multiple strings with people, and it's just us sending just mortgage memes to each other all
back
day,
and
every
forth
day.
and back and forth and back and forth. And so
I love it.
Yes,
it too.
but he is also a person, right? There is a face behind mortgage memes, and you are a CEO. You are a producing mortgage lender, or do you just run a massive team? Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So I've been in the business, my 26th year in the business. I run a direct lender as well as a mortgage and real estate brokerage. And that stuff keeps me super busy. But I still produce, just really friends and family though.
Really? Okay.
Got it.
I got to ask, how many do you have under you or working with you?
So we have, so Viewpoint Lending is the direct lender that I own. We have about 38 loan officers at Viewpoint Lending, and then staff-wise, and we have a full staff marketing department. There's another dozen or so people there, so a little over 50 people there. And then on the brokerage side, there's about 35 or 40.
Love that.
And you are here with us on one of the last days of the month.
I know. Listen, there a couple of people were like, "You really scheduled that for the 30th?" I'm like, "Listen, we're good. You guys can handle it."
And you're based out of California, correct?
I am, yeah, Southern California, right by Disneyland for perspective.
Oh, nice. I love that. And if you guys don't know, which I think is also a funny part of your story, that you're married to your head underwriter, which is glorious.
Yeah, which is can be interesting around the dinner table for sure.
Do you ever go, because we love our underwriters, but sometimes we got to do a little head-to-head battle here. How does that look when you're just like, hey girl, come on, help me out here?
So she works from home and she's our credit manager, underwriting manager, right? So I'll get home from the office and I could tell, I'm like, oh no, I could tell something's going on. So we have learned through a lot of practice, is it Michael, the CEO you're talking to, or Michael, your husband that you're talking to? And then we kind of set the table that way and can figure it out. Because otherwise I'm like, man, she's coming at me hard. I got to do something about this. And she's like, I was just venting. No, you're good. I'm like, well, I made 6 calls already and put people on blast. So it's super interesting. But
that's so good.
We figured it out.
I bet there's 2 ways of it though, because I bet you know so much more than a regular lender doesn't know because of all the dumb guidelines that underwriters have to know. So I see both sides of the story. It's funny. She used to work for an LO who was married to an underwriter that we work with now. And I'm like, I don't know how you two do it.
Right.
It's a thing.
Because sometimes we're like, hey, unsee that. Right?
Wait, are we being recorded? Are we on the record?
No.
Don't record this part. I'm just kidding. No, that's funny. But then you guys have 6 kids. I don't understand how you do it. And then you have the brain capacity to come up with the most hilarious things I've seen in the business. where do you get ideas and like, how do you come up with the things you do?
So it's pretty funny. Most of the memes are based on reality, right? There's so much humor that happens in our business on a daily, constant basis. But it's funny that you said like brain capacity, because how it started was it was April of about 2018-ish, 2019. Okay. I was laying in bed. I just could not go to sleep, and I don't sleep much, right? So I go to bed between 1 and 2 every night. Wake up around 6 or so.
Yeah, we're lenders.
And my brain was just, yeah, right, exactly. So my brain is just like running. And my wife looks at me and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just like scrolling through social media." And I was talking about a meme, and she's like, "Why don't you start making memes?" She's like, "You're pretty funny, dude.
Love it.
Like maybe that'll help you." So I literally that night I was like, I'll figure it out. So I started making some memes, and that's how I go to bed now. Like I can't, like, it's how I unwind at night. So
it's always women coming with the good ideas.
Oh my God.
Of course, right?
But like you pull things from like a movie that I haven't seen in 20 years and like do you watch a movie and you're like, I'm going to make something from this, or like, do you?
It'll be anything. I'll hear like a song and I'll be like, that song was in this movie. Oh, that movie had a funny part. Let me go get the clip.
So I have to pull up, hang tight. And then we're going to get like where you started. We'll get into more mortgage memes and everything, because we're going to start from the beginning here. But I have got to pull up my favorite freaking meme that you have ever done. And I am dying because we're literally.
I sent this to her and she called me immediately. She was just like dying laughing.
Because it's literally what we deal with all the time. And I love it more than anything in this world. Hold on. Gosh, do you post one like every single day? Oh, yes.
Yeah, I try to.
Okay, hold on.
I have a feeling I know which one.
Ready?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so how did you come up with the back part that even says, and the name on the shirt doesn't match? Like,
so the story behind that specific meme is I was addicted to Vine when Vine was out.
Yeah, and, Vine was so good.
And David Lopez was one of my favorite Viners, and he did that. Like that was his Juan videos, right? So I've always wanted to do a meme to David Lopez's Juan videos, and I just couldn't figure out what to do. So I was at a client of mine who owns a client of mine owns a really successful mechanic shop in town, and he was buying some units. And I was talking to him, and somebody walked up and they said a different name. Like actually my client's name is Juan, which is funny. But they said a different name. They're like, "Hi, Manny," and I'm like, "Manny, who's Manny?" And then I looked on his shirt, and there was a different name on his shirt too. And then it clicked. I'm like, "That's the Juan video. Like I got this nailed now." So, I mean, honestly, it's just like. It's just connecting all the stuff I see in real life.
I love it. I love that because it's hard because people are funny in general, right? Like we have funny moments, but we don't, it's between us. Like we don't, like sure. Thank you for just keeping light in this crazy fucking lending world, because it literally makes our day go
We
around.
literally just had a loan like that, and it was a specific name, but then he was like the third. So like the credit reports was merging with his dad and his grandpa and everything. And we're just like, hold on. And we had to like trace all this like documentation back to like 1980. And we're like, okay, this is ridiculous. Yeah. But you're so funny. But
I have a question for you really quick. Have you monetized off of this Instagram account at all?
Yeah, so Instagram does pay me. I get like a weekly bonus. It's barely enough to buy lunch, but yeah, I do get paid from it.
I love it.
But now you're
and then
here.
As well, like there are some people that pay me to do like posts, but I like either stories or posts, and I try not to do that. I've tried to keep the page like pretty pure, and like you can see I don't really advertise anything much on there. Actually, I don't even think I've done an advertisement. I turn that stuff down.
Yeah.
But that's where you start to be able to monetize it, and
or something like that. Like I don't think people understand that lending makes no sense these days.
It's so true.
Hard.
Like lending is so ass backward right now. And then the fact that we can all laugh about it. Like, I don't know how many streams we have with other lenders going on with what you do. And it like literally just makes us be able to breathe again
Yeah.
and be like, you're right. Like we're not the only ones, right? And then when Fannie and Freddie are constantly telling us what we can't do anymore, and oh, you have worse credit and you have a lesser down payment and you get a better interest rate. What the fuck? Right?
I know, right?
Right?
Like some of that stuff makes no sense. But I've noticed, like, since the COVID era, people work from home, like 70-80% of people work from home now in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
So they're isolated. They don't know that somebody else is going through the same thing.
For sure.
Right.
You're not wrong. You're
Right.
not wrong. So you got in the business 26 years ago?
Yeah. Tell us how all this comes about. Tell us your story, because we also know that obviously you're married, you have 6 kids, which God bless you,
Yep.
and you're a cancer survivor. So just kind of start from the beginning and tell us how you became who you are, Mr. CEO, Mr. Mortgage Memes.
Sure. So I was in it's funny, it was a high-tech industry back then, but considering what tech was 26 years ago, super low tech, right? But I was in the high-tech sales back then. Always good at managing people. I had a buddy who owned a mortgage company, and he was like, listen, I'm good at mortgage, but I'm horrible with people. Why don't you come over, manage my people? I'll teach you the mortgage industry. And my daughter was just about to be born at that time. She's 25 now. I was like, okay, I'm up for the challenge. Like, let's do this. It's a good time in my life to make a career change. I was in my mid-20s at the time. So I did that. And then he told me, it was funny because the first day I walked in there, he's like, you're going to know in about 6 months, this is either going to be in your blood or you're going to hate it.
It was my 6-month mark too.
He goes, right? And he said, if it's in your blood, there's nothing you can do. You're always going to be drawn back to it.
Yep.
So got in it. I looked at him, like, it was like 3-4 months later. I'm like, man, this is in my blood. He goes, I told you, like, you'll know.
And this is when you had to like meet buyers and get paper copies and fax and yeah.
It's when I was taking 1003s in the living room.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, he told me that. I went in, that's how it started, and I love the business. Glad, I wouldn't want to do anything else, even through all the ups and downs. And I've been through, this is like my 3rd or 4th, like kind of going into my 4th bad cycle. This is crazy. This cycle the last 2 years has been absolutely insane.
Thank you. I'm glad that you validate that, because I've been doing it for 12 years and I'm like, this sucks, but I haven't been through 26 years of it. Yeah. No, it does. People don't really know that 2017 was actually the lowest mortgage application volume since 2008. Mm-hmm.
So 2017 was another cycle that we dealt with, and most people don't even realize it because it wasn't 2008 and it wasn't what it is today.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you
think, you've been through the cycle.
Just because you're so smart, why do you think it was so low in 2017? What was going on then? Because that's right when I started as an LOA and I was naive to the world.
We had we had come off. So I'm a student of kind of like the political environment and how it affects our mortgage world and the finance world. I mean, when you think about it, mortgage and real estate is the key driver of our economy, right? We look at that all the time.
Yep.
Our economy is a key driver in the world, so you can kind of see all these patterns around it. So in 2017, you had just come off of Trump getting elected, an Obama administration that the country really liked at that point and felt comfortable and safe and kind of prospered through coming off of 2008, right? So you had 2008 to 16 with Obama, pretty decent years recovering and kind of getting back on our feet.
Mm-hmm.
With that, Trump, he's so divisive. Whether you love him or hate him, it's just who he is.
Yep.
So then you had like the country kind of become divided again. Anytime there's like the U.S. public doesn't feel settled, they kind of stop. They stop buying. They stop moving. They stop doing the things that are in our normal trends. So I really think that's kind of what it attributed to, was everybody saying, okay, let's see what happens here. I don't want to buy. I don't want to sell. Rates they were somewhat stable at that point. They were about what they are today. So I think really that's what affected it was just the political environment, the country reacting to, hey, I don't know what's going to happen.
I think that's what we're seeing now. I think everybody's just like waiting for this election to be like, applications are super low. We had a really good May, and then it just kind of tanked. But I think everybody's just like not sure, and and waiting.
While we have your brain, and we'll get you back into your story, but while we have your brain, just because you're so smart, what do you think is going to happen? Number one, Fed cut in September. What do you think is going to happen with that? And what do you think is going to happen after the election?
Okay, so let me start by saying I don't have a crystal ball. If I did have a crystal ball, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now.
Give us the answer. Just give us the answer, please.
How many times have you told clients in the last 2 years, like, oh, rates are gonna drop like last Q1 last year? And we're like, well, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I've been saying that for like 18 months now. So got a lot of egg on my face. Honestly, what I think is going on is that, so we have a cycle in the country that people move about every 7 to 10 years, and people refi about every 5 to 7 years. That's just an average, like a national average, right? So it's really difficult to get somebody to move out of a 3% rate into a 6 or 7 or 8% rate just to pick up one bedroom. They'll figure out how to make do, right? Right. So I think now that we start to see it come down, and listen, you've seen the mortgage rates over the last 4 weeks. They've come down pretty sharply. Right. That's an indicator that the mortgage market believes that rates are, Feds are going to cut the rate. I was asked yesterday, like, hey, if the Feds cut the rate on September 17th, I think the 17th is the meeting. Yep. Mm-hmm. They said if they cut the rate on the 17th, do we see the rate cut the next day? And I was like, no, like that rate doesn't really have any correlation to the mortgage market. It does essentially, but there's no direct correlation. So when they cut the rate, we don't see a rate cut, but our environment's already reacting to that. So what I think will happen is I think we'll continue to see rates stay about where they are, maybe come down a little bit. Like everything that on a graph that goes down or goes up has these little lines, right? So it's constantly going up and down like that. I think that's what we'll see over the next few months until the election, and then anything could happen at that point. I mean, I remember, late 2008, like it was 2 or 3 weeks after Obama was elected, we saw like 150 basis point cut in rates overnight. Yep. It was like 2 weeks after he was elected. Then with Trump, we saw it go the other way. He was elected, and then we saw a little bit of a rate spike of about 75 or 100 bips, like within the week after the election, confirmed that it was him. So we're going to see something. I don't know which way it swings. Like if Trump gets elected or if Harris gets elected, not really sure which way it's going to go. I don't, there's no good temperament for the country. And I think the best example of that, I'm sorry, I geek out on this stuff because
we want to hear it. The world wants to hear it.
Well, I feel like something's got to give at some point, right? But
yeah, it does. Yeah, you're totally right. And what we saw with the election that was between Trump and Clinton with Hillary Clinton was that all the polls said she was going to win, right? So going into that election, everybody was like, oh, Hillary's got this in the bag. And then Trump won. So the polls don't really tell us a story anymore. So that's what I think we're tripping over with the trends right now, is that the polls can't be trusted. So right now the polls say that Harris is trending really well. Right. But we don't know. We don't know if that data is valid.
Yeah.
Golly.
I'm like, this is like, I thought last election was like a game changer, but I feel it more now than ever. I feel like people are just stuck in a position, and I'm sure you see it, but like when we pull credit reports, like credit card debt is at an all-time high, car repossessions are coming out, like it's getting hard. And I think that, people, I don't think the government is understanding or realizing, like they keep saying we're not, I know, but they keep saying we're not in a recession, and it's like, what are you talking about? Like, so I don't know. I feel like it's a weird time right now that I'm super excited to like see what'll happen, but I'm also very nervous.
Just tell us it's gonna get better. Just say, girls, it's gonna get better.
Girls, it's gonna get better. I just don't know when.
Just don't know when.
But then also, like, mortgages makes no sense to me. Get this. I had a VA borrower, 0% down, get a DU approval at a 58.9 yesterday. But then an FHA borrower at a 660 to 3143 is a refer. And I'm like, and nothing makes sense to me anymore. I thought I was good at mortgages, but DU says, fuck you, you're not. Like, you really suck.
It'll trip us up pretty good. And we're not seeing, we're not seeing the same thing we used to see where, like, if I get a VA approval here, that loan could probably go FHA or probably go another route.
Yeah.
The loans are so individual right now. It's crazy. I will tell you, in 26 years, this is the most difficult pipeline I've ever had by far.
Ever.
Yes.
Like my mind is actually boggled most times I go to bed and I'm like, I don't know what just happened today. Like that happens in my mind all the time. All the time. You know what I also wish that they would make a thing is if DU and LP would come out with like a what if we got to a 660, would we get an accept? Like they're like, nope, you're just gonna have to gamble and see what happens.
Yeah,
like, I
know.
wish they did that.
The credit what if simulator is super helpful, but it's only a guess. Like, great, I get, I tell them to pay all this stuff, I get it up, and you're right. Maybe I still don't get a DU.
Still a refer.
Yep.
I'm like, come on,
like,
help us out. Help us.
Yep.
They're just like, no, you lenders, like, screw you. We're gonna make it harder on you today, and then harder on you tomorrow, and then see what happens next week.
But thank you for your insight on all that. I'm sure we're gonna dig into that more. But okay, so you started, it was in your blood, you've been doing it for 6 months, and you're like, all right, dude, this is me. Then what happens?
Yeah, so kind of went through some different positions in the industry, helped a couple companies that like grow in areas that they were new to. Growth was always what kind of made me like want to go to work every day, right? So I looked at all that, and then the reason I started Viewpoint was a couple business partners and myself sat down and were like, we want to create something a little bit different. We want to create a mortgage company that we've actually talked about, like, what if one day we can get back to offering pensions to people, right? So create a mortgage company that cares about the individual, because most mortgage companies out there I have found are just looking at your production, and it's not even if you're just an LO. If you're a processor, like I've been on the back end, so I've seen the spreadsheets of how, companies look at breaking down, what people are doing and their productivity. And it's all just about like, okay, we've got 8 underwriters. This one is the lowest in efficiency and so on. So let's replace him or her, or, put them on a write-up, but they're still a good individual. They're still a good underwriter. Somebody's always going to be at the bottom, right? So this industry just looks at numbers, and I wanted to create something that was a little bit different than that looked at people as an individual and cared about their personal and professional goals. And I never want our company to be a place where somebody misses their significant other or kids, play at school or, something like that, because it's month end, or because, I got to get this out, I can't leave my desk. We tell people all the time, like, please, like, go to the events that your family and your kids and people have.
So what do you do differently to make that happen? Do you just make sure you do have even in these tough times, you just make sure you have enough to cover these ops that can take time off and cover, other ops when they're in? Like, how do you do that? How do you make sure everybody's taken care of? Because at the same time, when it comes down to it, business is business, and you also have to hit your numbers and your margins
and deadlines.
Yeah, exactly. The philosophy behind that is simple. Most people are cross-trained to do at least 1 or 2 other positions. I had a mentor, a guy that I worked for maybe 6-7 years ago, who was really good at that. And he would keep departments lean, but he's like, hey, each department is cross-trained in 2 or 3 other departments. Because, if you have a funder go out on the last day of the month because they're sick or something happens, you could not fund a ton of loans that day,
right?
And it's detrimental to everybody in the process, right? So, so that's the one way we do it, is that everybody's pretty much cross-trained to be able to hop in and help somebody else out. Yeah. And then the other way is that, if I want to take advantage of this, I got to have other people's backs when they need help.
Yeah,
that's smart.
So I used to work at US Bank, and our processors used to be able to clear certain underwriting conditions, right? Like okay, like bank statements, like the processor could clear that. It was nice, but it's different every company you go to. But it is hard. Like when we have these deadlines, we're like, it's loan conditions today at 5 p.m. You need to get this clear to close, and they're like, I have 8 different files in front of me. It's hard.
I gotta know. So like, I gotta dig into this a little bit deeper, because you started as an LO and then you and your buddy started Viewpoint Lending. I gotta dig into that more. How did you just go from being an LO? Obviously, you're very smart and you retain the information and you understand how loans work and how the back end works. But What made you and your friends be like, we can do this, and where are we going to get our funding? Like, dig in a little more about how you're like, all right, dude, we're going to do this.
Yeah, the back end's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, the back end's super hard. So the first thing, actually kind of taking a step back, I know I shit on underwriters a lot on mortgage memes. Like, I know I do, because they're easy targets. But I will tell you, one of the things we don't see, but I get to see it all the time, is that when a loan funds, like the LO and everybody else, like, yeah, cool, we got it to the finish line, but that's not even close to the finish line. That loan has to be sold to an investor at that point. And any little thing that comes back, like incorrect name on the CPL, or all these different things, that goes directly back to the underwriter. And then if you have a buyback where the loan's not sellable, you're talking about tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, like immediately,
right?
That it costs you. So they have a crazy responsibility. So when they're tough on you guys, just go easy on them. There's a reason, because all the flowback after the file closes goes to the underwriter.
Is your wife watching you right now?
I don't think so.
Were you married?
We're not live, so no, she's not.
Were you married before you got in the business or after?
Before.
No, so you started mortgages and you're like, I need somebody on my side. You're going to become an underwriter now.
Yeah, exactly. So then to answer the other part of your question is, so there's a couple things. So when you talk about the capital, you have to have somebody that that's like crazy enough and daring enough that wants to help start a mortgage company, because it's super expensive. The layers that you have to have before you even originate a loan are kind of crazy, right? So it did have a good silent partner when it came to that. But ultimately, I had gotten to a few positions where it was like regional, national director of sales, things like that. So I got to see things at a little bit higher level. And I was able to kind of look down, and I had this mentor who was the president of lending at JG Wentworth. Guys, his first name was Phil.
Yep.
And
JG Wentworth.
Right. And I learned something super valuable from him. So one night, it was kind of late at night, he was walking through the office, and he went over to actual file cabinet, opens the file cabinet, pulls out the declined files, and he looks at them, and he starts looking through them, and he's like, yeah, this looks doable. And then he picks a few more, and he sees like 2 or 3 that look doable out of like a dozen that he picked. So he's like, I'm going to take this to the underwriting manager tomorrow, and we'll figure this out. So he goes to the underwriting manager, they call the underwriters in that decline those files, and the underwriters each said, listen, it was kind of on the edge, but I don't want to lose my job if I make a bad decision, right? So he turned around and he said, listen, I see what's going on now is that, we're missing opportunity. These people are afraid of they're going to lose their job.
Yep.
So he turned around and said, what we need to do is make sure the loan is sellable and that the people can afford and make the payment, right? So once we get there, then we just need to figure out how to make the file work and how to make it happen. Kind of changed the philosophy, told everybody, you're not going to get fired if you make a good decision that goes bad, so don't worry about that. So I got to see that, and then my buddies and I were talking. We're like, listen, we take a few of these philosophies, cross-training people in multiple positions, try to make files work that fit the guidelines, that are sellable, and we can create a company that will do great things. And that's essentially what we did. Was we took bits and pieces from great leaders that we had over time, put our egos aside, and said, let's learn from people who've done it right, and let's learn from the people who've made some mistakes, and create a company based on that. That's really what led us to
so dope. So you literally started as an LO, grinded, obviously, because you're smart and you work hard, right? You actually work, grinded your way up to all these positions, met the right people, saw the good things, the bad things, and then started, is it Viewpoint Lending, which you've initially started and just stuck with the whole time?
Yes.
Is it a brokerage, correspondent lender, direct? Tell us about your company.
Yeah, so Viewpoint is a direct. So I have Viewpoint Lending, that's a direct lender. I've had my brokerage for years and years and years. That's neighborhood lending and neighborhood real estate. Okay. So that operates completely separately. It's a brokerage, traditional brokerage. But Viewpoint Lending is direct lender. We're in 18 states now. So
you in Colorado?
Cool. We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. So it's been a great ride in terms of like just getting here. And yeah, you know, I tell people all the time, if you're an LO, they're like, hey, what's the key to success? And I tell people, if you just work 40 hours a week at your job, not like I'm at my desk, I'm scrolling through Instagram looking for reels to create. Like if you work 40 hours a week, you'll be a successful LO. But it's going to snowball. You work 40 hours a week, you start becoming successful. It's going to turn into 50, 60, 70. And I've never taken a vacation where my phone or laptop is not with me. And
we talk about
like,
this
there's
all
no
the
such
time.
thing as a day off.
Right.
Yep. That's
Right?
There's
so
no such
that's
thing. And
so
we're
true.
literally on 24/7.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't matter what time of day it is. Nothing stops.
Yeah.
Right. And I
Yeah.
feel like I said this yesterday, but I think that lenders have the toughest job in the business, like hands down. There's no question about it. Like we are pulled in 18 different directions all the time. We have to know guidelines. We have to go out and sell. We have to get business. We have to close the loans. We have to communicate deadlines, all the shenanigans that go into it. And I'm like, that's what I'm like. I literally lay in my bed at the end of the day. I'm like, what the fuck? I just don't know what happens on a daily basis.
But it's also very rewarding.
It is.
Like what job can you, I mean, there's jobs out there, but like our job, like you get what you put in, right? And there's no cap. So if you want to be a grinder and you want to grind it out and you want to do all the things to be the best, then you are going to be the best. And the financials come with that. You know, and I mean, even we've seen because of this year and last year, we have seen so many LOs fall off, right? And they're like, why am I not closing any loans? But then they're out at Waterworld, you know, or something, which you should do.
Exactly.
And I know you like the work-life balance, but at the same time, it's like you have got to work, you've got to grind. And obviously, you know, our income wasn't what it was a couple years ago, but we know when things change because you promised us they will.
I did, right?
You know, that we were in here, we were grinding and like the true survive, right?
Yeah.
It's true. And going back to what you said, Sarah, the amount of people, so I ask people this all the time, like I'll just like randomly say like, hey, how many people do you think in a transaction a realtor works with? How many people do you think a loan officer works with? And the answer is like, oh, you guys probably work with like 5 or 6 people during the transaction. And I'm like, you want to know what the actual number is? It's about 7 for a real estate agent, and it's about 23 for a loan officer.
Yep.
Title, escrow, appraisal, LOA, TC, buyer's agent, listing agent. Like I could go on.
And then if they're getting a gift, the grandpa's cousin, you know, like we're going.
No, it's so
exactly.
True.
So it's a super stressful job.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's rewarding, but people don't understand that aspect of it. You're juggling on just one file about 23 different people. If you have 5 files, you know, some of those 23 are the same people, but you still have like a ton of people for each file that you're juggling. Not an easy job.
No, it's insane. It's
And
actually insane.
And you're still out here grinding. And I know this is kind of like a crappy part, but you're building these businesses, you're doing great. You have a wife, you're sprinkling kids in here and there. Where does this cancer come into play?
So it was back in 2004. My son was about 6 months old at the time. I was diagnosed with testicular cancer, same thing that Lance Armstrong had. And kind of just hit me. I was like, wow, like, okay, got to deal with this. But I'm super solutions oriented. So I was just like, okay, spring into action and figure this out, right? You know, and I will tell anybody that's going through this, when you go through, like even today, I know that this was, 20 years ago, but even today, if you're going through something like that, you're your biggest advocate when it comes to healthcare.
Yep.
I went to a doctor who was very well recommended, and he literally sat on his computer and he pulled up, like, he's like, okay, let me type in testicular cancer because it's not super common. He's like, okay, this is what the treatment looks like. And I'm like, dude, I've done more research than you before I came here. So ended up going to a different doctor, and that doctor, she was incredible, but she even said, she's like, be involved in this. Like, so I tell anybody who's going through cancer treatment, just diagnosed, like, you're your own biggest advocate. So I was diagnosed, went through surgery and then chemotherapy. Took me out. It didn't. You know what's funny is I don't like to pat myself on the back, but what I will say I didn't miss a day of work. So even like when I was going through chemo, my chemo treatment was Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So I was in the infusion center from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. It was like that for 3 weeks. And then the 4th week was just 1 day. So those 3 weeks where I was in there, the guy who was running my brokerage at the time would like bring files into me and we would work on them sitting in there. Cause I didn't want to miss work. But again, like people who are going through that, keep your mind busy, stay active as you can. Thank God I was blessed enough to be able to, keep my mind sane and be able to do that work. I know some people are not that fortunate, but if you can, keep your mind busy. That will help you through things so much, so much more.
And I think people underestimate what the power of the mind can do.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Like if you have a positive mindset and you have that solution oriented, because I'm the same way. Like I'm like, what needs to be done? So I had a baby and I didn't take 1 day maternity leave. And that's right when COVID hit. Thank God I didn't, because I was just cranking.
She was like in labor in the hospital with like a laptop on her belly, like having contractions. And I'm like, this bitch, I took the day off, right?
But I'm like, but it is like, if you're in this business, like, and it's like your mind is always going, like you're always doing something. And if you can keep your mind in a healthy place, in a good spot, it does wonders for you.
Have you actually ever read or listened to The Power of the Subconscious Mind?
I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to send it to you. It's super old. It was written in like a long time ago. But it's called
Don't say super old. Don't say super old and then say 19. I was born in 1972.
Well, I mean, we were 88, 87, but I mean, like it's older.
Like
it's not newer, but it's called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And it's literally there's a whole chapter on being sick or having an ailment. And there's just these studies where it's like, no, I'm not sick. Like I am doing this, I'm doing that. And your body literally follows, your mind follows, everything around you follows. And it's like such a powerful thing is you. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm sick and I'm going to die and I'm not going to make it, and this is horrible. Well, then that's probably what's going to fucking happen. Right. But then if you're like, I'm going to go to chemo, I'm going to work, I'm going to grind it out, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here for my wife, I'm going to be here for my kids, I'm going to start this amazing business. And then you do it, then that's what's going to happen. So
it's a good story.
So I take it you beat it.
Beat it. Yeah. Yeah, I beat it. It's an interesting journey. People ask me like, hey, how did it change you, or did it change you? And I've always been very conscious of the value of time and the value of time with the people that you love. So even when I was much younger, I was like that. So that's typically what people learn, is the value of time and the value of being around the people that they love the most and making the most of that time. So I feel like what I learned the most was what you just talked about. What I learned the most was it's all about mindset, right? So even to like, I've been through ups and downs. I've lost almost everything, and got it back, and gone through struggles. I'm not superhuman, right? I've gone through everything that everybody else has gone through,
right?
But it's how you look at it, how you're going to take it on and take on the challenge. Like the last 2 years have put about, I think the number is around 38% of licensed mortgage loan officers are out of the business, because of the last 2 years. About 30-something% of companies have exited the business. And I'm sure their mindset was scarcity, right? Hey, what am I going to do to keep myself afloat the next day? For me, it was the same question, but it wasn't scarcity, it was abundance. It was, what am I going to do to get through the next day so I can get to the good side again?
Right.
So I tell people that all the time. You either come from, and my business partner, this guy Chris Moreno, he taught me that too, was you either operate from a scarcity mindset or an abundance mindset. And that's going to dictate your outcome 9 out of 10 times.
100%. I mean, I see it every day. Like the LOs that have a good head on their, head on their shoulders, and they have that positive mindset, they're the ones who are successful. The ones who are always bitching and complaining or just is woe is me, they're the ones who are struggling right now. It's like it's so key and so huge in this industry.
I give her so much credit for that because, like, yes, we're successful. Sarah and I play two very different roles in our partnership. But when everything started happening, I like to beat myself up, right? Well, I used to really like to beat myself up, and I've had her rearing me. Is that a weird word? But she's always like, Shay, like, it'll come, calm down. Like, if you live in fear, then you're just going to be miserable. Live in the now, do what you can to get to the next deal. And I feel like the last 3 or 4 months, after 17 years of friendship, it finally hit me. And I'm like, fuck it. Yeah. Like, it is what it is. What's going to happen is what's going to happen. Like, be a good person, work hard, and shit will work out. And that's because your mindset is, it's a good mindset to have. And like, now, yeah, things are hard, but are we going to be okay? Yeah. Do we have cancer? No. Could things be worse? Yes. Right. So I'm very grateful for you for that. Yeah. It's so good that you've done that as well. And obviously you've kept the business going. And I feel like you guys do a lot of things differently, because you said you hold like a lot of events, are you a mentor? Like, what are you doing now to kind of keep everybody going and everybody engaged? Because it is hard. And what we've noticed, sorry, this is like a million questions at once. We've noticed nobody really likes to go to events much anymore. Like, it's hard to get butts and seats. So like, what do you do different?
So yeah, we do a lot of events. So how we get butts and seats is have, we always make sure we highlight a speaker that's going to bring value. Even if they don't know who the speaker is, we make sure that they know, hey, you're going to get some value out of this. Well, that's what we're bringing to you. So that's just something that, I mean, it's fun to do. It gets everybody out, gets everybody involved, whether we're hosting it or just sponsor at an event or some things like that. But it's, I guess where I'm kind of going with this is it's just about, making people feel like they're part of something. So the other thing we do is nothing is blocked off. So we have some social media training that we do here from, I don't know if you guys know the name Min Win, but he's What's a Mortgage, pretty big influencer, Jade Buckley, The Mortgage Kitchen. Those are a couple of the guys that we've had on. And when we have people, it's not just our company. So we let people from all sorts of, our competitors come, and people in the business, title, escrow, realtors, whoever it might be. Because my philosophy has always been like, if we can make everybody better, our industry gets better.
Right.
Yes.
And so, right. So I don't mind sharing the secrets. Like what we do, we've got some really cool things that we do. There's other companies out there that, that do things better or different. So I'm a big believer in just like sharing everything. We're super transparent. We're transparent with our employees, but then also transparent with our competitors. And like, we'll just lay it out like, hey, this is what we're doing. Go do it. Like, go duplicate it. God bless you with it. Because we're already working on the next thing anyway. So most companies like come up with an idea and then they stick with it and they're like, this is our idea. Like, keep it close to our chest. Where we're like, okay, we have this idea. Let's work on the next thing. And then we have these people that are keeping it in motion. I have the most amazing marketing teams that helps us like keep things in motion, but also helps us become innovative. So why not share? So that's kind of our philosophy too. And people know when they come to our events, we're going to share our secret sauce. Because there's no secret sauce to this business. It's just a flavor that we put on it. Right.
Right.
So,
and I love that. I love that because as lenders, it's such a cutthroat business, and we're all just doing this all damn day
undercutting
long.
each other.
And I feel like that's what Shay and I are trying to do in our Denver community is like, yes, you're a competition, but let's go have lunch. Let's go do social media together. Let's create a community, because real estate agents kind of have that. Like they're competitors, but they all like, they're kind of a little team, like no matter what. And us as lenders, we like side eye each other, and like, it sucks. Like it's like we're on like a lone world over here.
It really is. And it's like, we don't need to undercut each other. We don't need to beat each other up. Like, let's just come together. Like, we're all in the same position here. Like, it's just, let us help you. You help us. We help you. Like we've just been doing some videos with a direct competitor of ours who actually works with one of our biggest real estate agents. And he works with her too. And he's like, do you guys want to do some like content together? And we're like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
That's super cool.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
you
just
don't find that a lot in this business.
No, you
so
don't.
It's really cool when you have that opportunity. It's like you engaging in that will take your career so much further than people who just keep it all to themselves.
I agree.
Be the bigger person, be the better person, share the wealth. Like Sarah and I did a speaking event yesterday in front of like 70, 75 people of like sharing what we do, you know, because everybody wants to be better. Just be that voice of reason. I have to ask, because this was a question that we had yesterday. And we've never really had a mentor. I mean, we look up to a lot of people and we take ideas. Like, did you ever have a mentor, or do you do mentorship, or what do you think about that? Or coaching? Yeah.
Okay, so gosh, you're putting me on the spot with this one. I'll be honest. I'll always be honest with you. So no, I've had a coach involved in our company at a different stages, because some other people find value in that. So the answer to your question initially is, do I have everybody's a mentor to me? So I don't care who you are. I don't care what nationality, what sex you are, where you came from. I don't care if you're the janitor or the CEO. We all have something to learn from everybody around us. So to me, truly, like, I've learned from everybody. My kids have been my mentors in some aspects, because there's stuff that they do that they just do right. So why not emulate that instead of ignoring it, right? So to answer your question, everybody, and I encourage it, like, look at everybody as a mentor, because there's something you can extract from everybody that's valuable.
Right.
The other side of that is the thing that drives me crazy about coaches is this. Like, and if anybody ever sees this, that's a coach, know that this is kind of the perception, is that, like, you see all these posts on social media from coaches. I increased this person's production 75%. I increased it 100%. Great. You've done that during the good years. You guys think about it. In the last 12, 18 months, what coach have you seen say, I've increased somebody's production? They're not on there going, I've watched their production decrease by 80%, which is the reality of it.
Yeah.
Facts.
So instead of focusing on, like, I did this for that person, no, that's hard work. That's being in the industry. It's the right place at the right time. I wish coaches would focus on, hey, this is the value I can add to you. I bring a different perspective. I help you think outside the box. I help you examine yourself and evaluate what you're doing on a daily basis, not the results, because we all know it doesn't matter. As hard as we could work right now, our production is not as good as it was in 2021, right? Just simple fact.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's like
So that's the thing that drives me crazy about coaches. But if you can, so I say everybody's a mentor. And if you can get a coach, like, hey, I want you to help coach me. I want you to help mentor me. But let's not focus on results. Let's focus on expanding my mind and expanding how I look at business. Like, that's a huge win. Yep. So I went back to school. I'm getting my doctorate degree right now in organizational behavior. Just because I'm super interested in how, like, the mind works in business. And it's crazy. Like, it's all about the productivity of the best people are those that are open to the most suggestions. They're open to self-examination and things like that. So that's what I encourage. So on the coaching piece, that's my philosophy.
Doctorate in organizational behavior?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Good for you. When do you have time to do life?
It's the same philosophy. Like, everything is life. Like, life is just part of everything. So I don't miss my kids' stuff. I'm super involved. I coach their sports, and do all that kind of stuff too. So, maybe I've been blessed with being super efficient, but I'm extremely efficient.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
What's next for you? What's in the coming years?
I never plan to retire. Like, I tell, like, my wife knows, like, you take me from my desk to my funeral at that point. I don't ever want to retire. So, ultimately it's just continuing to build Viewpoint to the point where We're in all 50 states, or at least 49 minus New York. Sorry, New
Yeah,
York.
what-
Yeah,
New
sorry,
York.
New York.
New York sucks.
You're
You know what else? You know
rough.
what else sucks is Utah.
Oh yeah, Utah.
That's your neighboring state.
I
It's a
know.
tough one though too.
I know.
They hate lenders.
Yeah, New York's brutal to lend in, but yeah, I mean, that's my goal, is just to grow in all 50 states, and then have a federally chartered bank. I don't know when I'll get there, but I know I'll get there at some point.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
what's the goal? I have to reel it back in because sorry, again at the speaking event yesterday, we were talking about the importance of podcasts, and Sarah's like, who knows mortgage memes? And about 80% of the people raise their hand.
Really?
Yeah, out here, like it,
That's cool.
you fucking rock it, dude. Like you bring so much joy. So like, I know that you're not really worried about making money off of it, but like, you're not gonna stop, are you?
No. I don't think I'll ever stop. I would like to grow the following count. For some reason, it's kind of plateaued around 25,000 followers, which is a decent amount. The followers are really engaged, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I would like to continue to grow that following. I just haven't hit that mark where all of a sudden, like, because you'll see it with people, they'll just grow from like 25,000 to like 100,000 overnight.
Yeah.
So my goal is to continue to grow that. I just need to put out good content. And you said, you're like,
So good.
dang,
It's
you post like once a day. I try to post once a day. I probably post like 5 times a week now.
How do you
But
think of it though?
it's actually, that's tougher. Like, writing a joke a day is actually tougher than
Oh, for
most of the
sure.
rest of my job in the mortgage industry.
Well, then you pair it
Yeah.
with like the most perfect things, and I'm
You-
just like, yes.
My
like,
name
this
is Juan. My name is Jose. Like I can't get over that. Like that's I favorited that. I'm like, save that, dude. I saved that. I sent that to like 100 freaking people. That shit's fucking funny.
Shay, if it helps, that's my favorite meme I've ever created.
It's
like, I love
so it's so good. You need to pin that. Did you pin
I
that to the
pinned
top?
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
I did.
God.
Yeah.
That
I
is
did.
funny. I
Um,
have to ask, do you ever get like hate where you like, oh, that's
Yeah.
racist, like you're so rude or anything like that?
I get that all the time. People will DM me like unfollowing, and I was like, I'll respond. I respond to every DM. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but like anybody who DMs me, I respond to every DM. And I get a ton of hate, but I'm a believer, like, comedy, there's like no limits.
Oh, yeah.
Make fun of me. I don't care. Like, I'm Middle Eastern, right? My dad came to this country like a couple years before I was born. My mom and dad are full blood Middle Eastern. So like, you can make fun of Middle East. I think I posted something. I got serious hate for like a plane flying into a house. Like, I got some serious hate. And I posted on there, I was like, I can post this because I'm Middle Eastern. So like, the Middle Eastern people freaking loved it. Like, the Middle Eastern people were DMing me. They like love that stuff. But so many people were like, you're never far enough removed from 9/11 to make that joke. And I was like, listen, Pete Davidson, whose dad was a firefighter who died in 9/11, makes a living of 9/11 jokes. Like,
Yeah.
that's how he
It's
got
so
his
true.
stand-up
Like,
career started.
no matter what, you're gonna get hate. No
Yeah.
matter
It's
what.
the society
no matter
we live in.
what.
Everybody's weak as
Like
shit.
you
We're
just
Oh,
gotta
totally.
do you because with as much hate as you get, you make so many more people happy.
yeah.
You know, and like literally when I was like, fuck lending, I'm out. Sarah will send me a meme and I'm like, okay, that's funny. I'm chilling. I'm chilling then. I'm chilling.
All right, I'm back in. Yeah.
I love it.
I get a lot of like good stuff, but I do get plenty of hate, and
Whatever.
man, I don't get it. Like, everything's funny in its own way, and I understand like there's stuff that to me personally isn't funny, but if somebody else finds some humor in it, God bless you. Like,
Dude,
good
that's
for you.
me. I find everything in life entertaining. Like, sometimes she'll call me with really sad news, and I just laugh. Like, I just laugh because I'm like, I don't know what else to do. Like
you're a
everything
What
bitch,
can you do?
dude.
is funny. Like, life is fucking funny. Life is entertaining. Life is fun. Make fun of it. Like, make life fun.
I got
Exactly.
so excited
Yeah.
because for some reason it was like 5 or 6 months ago back. Like I commented and you commented back, and I was like, "Whoa, mortgage memes commented back!" And then you started following me, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm famous, I'm famous." What you doing? This is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
and we didn't. I mean, until not talking to you maybe like 2 weeks ago, we didn't know that you were a CEO of Viewpoint Lending. We didn't know this about you. We just thought you were like some dude, you know, eating tacos, sitting behind a computer making funny shit. But like, look who you are. Like, it's just it's so cool. It's so good to hear. But obviously people can find you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so yesterday, my wife was like, "So you're coming out, huh?" She's like, "Cause you know there's honestly there's people at my company that don't know it's me." So
that's hilarious.
It's super funny, and we have these counters, these social media counters on our front desk at our corporate office. One is for our Viewpoint page, and then the other one is mortgage memes. And people will ask them, so they're like, "Why do you have the mortgage memes counter?" Because it says like how many followers you have. And I realized like people that work here don't even know that it's me. So yeah, I've kind of kept it under wraps because I'm like, people are going to know that meme's about them. So,
yeah, for sure.
Has
your wife ever been like, has your wife ever called you out?
Oh my God, all the time. So sometimes like she'll like, at this point, not anymore, but I would walk in the door and she would look at me and be like, that meme about me and this, the Padilla file or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of was. So I tell people all the time, don't, like, if you do stupid shit around me, it's going to get made into a meme.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Make one of us.
Yeah.
Two dumb blondes trying to get a deal done. How long does it take? I don't know. This is hilarious. Like, okay, so everybody, Mortgage Memes is Michael Sunnaa, CEO of Viewpoint Lending. Who would have freaking thought? Actually, somebody's of value.
Follow the account.
Follow the account.
Yes,
yeah.
Follow. Because it is worth it.
Mortgage Memes. Even all you agents out there, like, you gotta know lending. No, they'll know some of it because they know. You gotta follow. Everybody just follow it. If you want to laugh, follow. Gosh. But honestly, thank you so incredibly much for being on today. You are the absolute best. Any ending thoughts from you?
No, thank you both. It's my first podcast that I've done. So I had never agreed to do a podcast before. Never wanted to like attach my name to Mortgage Memes. So you got me out of my shell a little bit to do that, which is cool. So thank you for that. And just like anybody that's listening to this, if you have any questions about the industry, I do love to talk about the business. So feel free to DM me on Mortgage Memes or on my personal page, and I'm happy to answer it and walk you through it.
Love it.
Perfect, man. Thank you so much. We will talk to you soon. You're absolutely amazing.
Thank you both.
Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye. You too.
Thank you so much for listening. This is From the Ground Up. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and check back next Monday for the next episode.